Hello, my name is Frances Fox. I'm an author. I just published a book a month ago called Peace, called Creation, Creating Peace. And I hope this week to have another book out called Sex, We Need to Figure This Out. The extra information I bring to the table that's new for practically everybody comes via my psychic abilities that were trained and developed because I was in a secret military program in the US government that was a continuation of a Nazi program in Germany. I was born in Germany after the Second World War. My father was Cuban. My mother was German. She, it appears, may have had a very may have had a very interesting history. I'm drinking barley water. Barley is one of the few plants on the planet that has perfect pH balance. And a Peruvian housekeeper I had used to prepare it for me decades ago, and I have continued to use it through the decades. If you are perfectly balanced, pH balanced, you can't get sick. I do believe that the barley water plus the seaweed that I've lived on also for 30 or 40 years since I had major surgery on my back is what's kept me on my feet and da, 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 da. But that's not what I'm here about. I have been mapping the energies of the United States for, I think it must be several months already, as I'm sitting in my house under a self-imposed house arrest because the bad guys have basically had this country totally under their control. And I'm hoping they'll get picked up soon or something's going to shift because honestly, I'm going to lose it. I read a couple of astrology tarot card readers on the internet because I can't get out of my house. I have too much free time. And they're saying, don't lose patience. It's okay. It's going to happen. It's going to be fine. Don't lose patience. And 2 days ago, I said, I haven't lost patience. You know what? I lost patience yesterday. I lost patience today, but not in terms of anger, but in terms of despair. Nobody can live like, I don't know very many people that could live the way it is that I live. But anyway, enough about me. I took 2 minutes and 54 seconds talking about me. How selfish can I be? So we're going to do the map of the country, and then I have to explain some things to you because there would appear to be a discrepancy between what I'm mapping and what is going on when you look at the news, even if you look at it on X, which is honestly the only place you should really be looking at news. Not that you should limit yourself to one outlet. But I'm going to explain, because if you look at the news, violence, 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 what the heck? And then I have a map that looks like this. So let me explain the map, and then let me explain the difference. First place, everybody who would say anything about evolution of the planet, and remember that my lens is very wide. I'm not just doing this incarnation or the last 3. I'm doing planetary history, which is the way you should be doing because reincarnation exists and you're going to get born again. So you're going to get hit with the same thing again. You might as well, let's take care of it in this incarnation. So here's the map. Let me start by saying that there is a synchronicity between Mexico and the United States. No, that can't possibly be true. Trump doesn't like Mexicans. I think you're going to need to think again. Maybe he just has great rapport for the president of Mexico at this point. I don't know what it is, but there's a synchronicity, a unity, energetic, spiritual between Mexico and the United States. I don't care if you want to challenge me on that. I don't care. The only thing I care about is the truth because it's the only thing that's going to be left standing. Okay? The games we have played in every arena in our life, the lies that we have said, that we were taught to say, socially correct, politically correct, those have taken us down. Look where we ended up. So I don't really care how you feel. I have to tell you what I see, my background, and then you just take it or leave it. Tremendous synchronous, tremendous connection, energetic connection between Mexico and the United States. Who would have thought? Florida looks great. Now there is a box around the green. The green is the color of the heart chakra and the color of healing. There's a box. I think you're going to see less of a connection between Trump and Elon, but it's not that there's going to be lesser connection. I think you're going to not be privy to the extent of the relationship because too many people has used it as an opportunity to go after Elon. Okay, so I think that's why it's a box rather than just the swirling energy. When I sketch somebody and I sketch a box over their head in black, they're very depressed, but they're not telling people, they're not letting it show. They're boxing it up. So I think that's happening here, but it's still good because this is helpful friends section of the country, which means helpful friends, people, but also between countries. And maybe that's what's made the difference with the thing with Mexico. I don't know. California's healing. What's going on there? I thought that was not repairable. I can be a bit of a pessimist because I'm a Cancer and we can be negative, okay? Whether we show it or not. Northeast, destiny change. Remember, I said that there were some bad guys there having these meetings, trying to figure out how to get the country into wars or whatever to be able to keep the economy going? This had nothing to do with Trump. These are secret whatever. Well, and then we sketched yesterday, I think, or the day before, that those bad guys were in a death roll, which is when an alligator grabs you and then it starts to twirl around in the water with you in its mouth, and that's it. It's a death roll. Nobody's going to get you out of that. Those bad guys went in a death roll. And now this says destiny change and it's green. Heart chakra. This is great. Then here it says US ascension process excellent. I'm not looking for the ascension process. I'm looking just for information. What kind of information? In terms of my training, I would be looking for the most important information now, not 2 weeks ago, not 6 months ago, in the future. Now, today, when I'm sketching, this is the most important information. There could be 1,000 more pieces of information. I'm not going to be sketching it because you'll be overwhelmed. So will I. And then you won't pay attention to the important stuff. Like we still have the Merkaba protection of the Galactic Federation. So does Mexico. So does Venezuela, even though it's slipping a tiny bit because of some abuse in the mines, mines, for gold in the southern part of Venezuela. We'll address that later, but not in this chat. And then at the center of it's lavender, which is spiritual. Okay. And then this is spiritual. That's lavender. I have never used a lavender pen in any country. Never. And when I went to reach for it, I went, what am I doing? I'm doing what I always do. I'm just doing the instinct and the intuition. This is great. Okay, but what's happening on the physical dimension? Because this is other dimensional energies. What you're seeing happening on the physical dimension today already happened in the other dimensions. This is what's coming up next. It could even be happening now, but this is not happening yet because this is not just peace. This is emotional, spiritual ascension. It even comes out in the words here. So, what's going on? I'm on X. There is some Democratic senator who hit a little kid on a bike. She got out of the car. Are you okay? I'm okay. And then she just drove off. And then she did go to the police station and said, I hit a kid, but I don't think it was a big deal. I'm not even sure I hit him. But her car has the scratches and the bike was damaged, whatever. So then there's all this screaming. If this had been a Republican, this would have been all over the place. Okay. And then we have all the Tesla keying and the rages on the campuses, and everybody's just so angry. against each other. Remember what I told you about the heart chakra? The name of the heart chakra is Anahata in Hinduism. It means no sound. There's no hitting up against light, dark, male, female. Right now, we're hitting light and dark. Now, the Democrats are dark and the Republicans are light. Yeah. And then whenever we find somebody who's supposedly be full of light, and then something happens, like an accident where she hits a kid on a bike, total darkness. That over there is total darkness. Okay. The bottom line is that we are, it looks like, at the tail end of this hitting up of light against dark, which creates all the messes. We're the good guys, they're the bad guys, the black hats, the white hats. After that, everybody kind of knows that we've been in a game, and our real enemies are not on planet Earth. Those of us on planet Earth are playing a game. It's a game to dislodge all this stuff, bad stuff we have inside of ourselves, in order to process it and finish with it. And then we all end up in the same place. According to Buddhism, Tantric Buddhism, the really evolved people are the people that are willing to take on darkness and process it. They end up looking like bad people. Look what they did. It turns out that they were carrying an energy. They volunteered subconsciously to take on a bad energy, whatever. Okay, so then we have too much of the element of fire. Our mind uses the elements, rearranges them, and creates reality. The elements: earth, water, air, fire. I know this part is boring. There's too much fire. Okay, that's the basis for the violence. So it doesn't really matter if you're Democrat or you're Republican. That's the basis for the violence. Here's what the trick is. You cannot be mentally ill unless your head is too hot. Ask any Ayurvedic physician or any acupuncturist that actually understands the basis of medicine as seen by Chinese medicine, not just the needle points. So we have an imbalance today. We have too much fire. Scientists call it global warming. Throw that out. We have too much fire because we have too much electronic equipment that radiates microwave. And it also radiates electricity, but it's nowhere near as bad. The microwave is like 1,000 times more than electricity. And there's not enough water, and there's not enough earth elements. Now, you can get the elements from watching movies, from the frequency in videos, which is the Mantrista music videos that we have. A painting, I've explained to you about my Ayurvedic doctor telling me to get a painting of a beach scene, and I was thinking he was trying to redecorate my home, and he was really trying to tell me you need more of the water element. So we have too much fire. So the violence is not going to stop in this country. It's just not going to stop in this country or any other country. But where is it going to be maxed out? In the places that have more electronic devices. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know that because in 1999, December 1999, the Dolphins gave me a 4 or 5 page article that they dictated and I wrote, and they said that the violence would be playing out in a much bigger way in the countries that had more TV sets. So your little computer screen is the TV set today. And that's the United States, because this is a wealthy country compared to practically all the other countries. And there's no contact with nature. Even in prisons by law have 2 hours a day outside. No kids, adults. Oh no, there's mosquitoes. It's too hot. Turn on the air conditioning. Let's go on inside. So we don't put from all of our electronic devices with earth, contact with nature, or in documentaries. But you can't watch documentaries all day long that have water in them. You can put on our music videos. because I think all of them have water, 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 except for one. They're all water, 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 and ice, ice, ice. So, mental illness, we are plunging into being a country full of mentally ill people. We already are. 40% of the kids are classified as mentally ill if they're ADD, if they're depressed. Well, how does that match with this? It doesn't. What this map is saying is that we can't see it yet, but we are in a good path. What path are we on? We're not on a good path yet. But being it that I have had such a horrendous day and a half, I guess I cried so much that my master's just kind of slipped a thought into my head. Okay. So we're going to start today to address the issue of the excess fire in the United States in English. How are we going to do that? Why are we forget excess fire because that's like a concept to you. Let's talk about mental illness. Do you want to diminish? You want to decrease the mental illness level in this country? Do you want to decrease the potential for us having more mentally ill people than any other country or than any other large country? Washington, D.C., by the way, has more bipolar people than any other city in the United States. Mental illness. Okay. So, what is it that shifted in me today? We're going to today, for the first time at 7:45, we're going to do half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour of mantra magic to reduce fire in the United States. Now, we have already done that in my group, the Mantrista Movement. We reduced the fire, and I believe we changed at least the character of Trump's impeachment. I don't know that we changed what finally happened, but we certainly reduced the fire. And I've said that story several times. We're not going to go into it. But we have to ice down the United States because you see, the elements that are used to create reality are not on the physical dimension. You create reality with the four elements. See? Four elements. So it's the elements in the other dimension we have to take care of. We're going to do that with visualization and with frequencies in the Mantrista music video that I'm going to put on, and with a mantra, which is really very simple. Please, God, help us with our intention to miraculously create a purification of the excess fire in the United States. We're sticking to the United States. I told my followers, most of whom don't know English because they're not from this country, I said, you can come on. I'll put the mantra up in Spanish, but don't put any comments in the chat because we don't want to scare away the Anglos with the second language. Yes, it looks blurry because this is blurred by the people that try to control me and want to make sure that you guys click off because the image is not clear. So if you go to my YouTube channels, the English and the Spanish, you will see that when I do my English chats, too many times it's blurry, it's terrible. But then the next chat, half an hour later, everything looks great. Conspiracy revealed. We have, thank you for saying it, nothing I can do. That's the stuff I was crying about. It's been too long. Okay? I have tremendous staying power, but this is beyond. This is decades already. So, anyway, enough about me. We're going to teach you how to work with your mind to create the reality that you want. We know that both Democrats, Republicans, young people, old people, most people want less violence. We definitely know that we are in trouble in terms of mental illness. And so subconsciously, whether people talking about it, they want less mental illness, the people just don't know what to do. Forget psychologists and psychologists. They don't even know what the word emotion means. And mental illness is all about emotions. They can't talk about spirits. Throughout history, it has been known, listen carefully, Throughout history, it was accepted and known that mental illness always had to do with spirits. But we can't believe in spirits. Well, then how are you going to address mental illness? You don't. You medicate it, but you can't really address it because you're not allowed. You're Christ. First thing he did was remove spirits, but you cannot take your Christianity, your beliefs with Christ, and you cannot apply them to your medicine. Those are the kind of things that make me crazy. Okay? You can't do that anymore. You need to be able to say 6 sentences, and those 6 sentences need to make sense. They don't make sense in this country. That's changing. I thank you, RFK. That's changing. So today is the first day. Now you need to know this. Once you do a mantra, you're a mantrista. I'm just joking. You don't have to be a mantrista. All I want for you to do, whatever. Now, if you want to go ahead and contract every airplane on the planet and start dropping ice on the physical territory of the United States, you're still not going to be able to do what we're going to be able to do now. And that's the magic. That's the white magic. That's that Ayurvedic physician saying, get a painting of a beach scene in your home. But he didn't explain. He just said to do that, and I thought it had to do with decor. This doesn't have to do with decor. This has to do with working with the elements and working, because I'm now teaching you in the other dimensions to affect your reality on the physical. I've taken 21 minutes already. Not supposed to do that. Okay. The most important law of the planet since the beginning of humans on planet Earth was the law of intention. Intention creates reality. Well, it's not the most important law any longer. The most important law today is the law of attraction. Oh, yeah, I read that book. Great. We're still not taking care of the issues because they were talking about you printing up, writing up, or drawing a check for $1 million and putting it on your wall and then looking at that. And that's the way you're going to track that to you. Okay. Obviously, people knew there was something really important about the law of attraction. And I am telling you, it's more important than the law of intention. You could have great intentions, but if your energy system, your energy bodies, which I call this garbage bag that includes you, all your energy bodies, but it also includes all the spirits, it includes fragments from when you were traumatized, it includes one of your mother's spirits, because she's a helicopter mom. It's inside your aura, that garbage bag. The quality and the content of your aura is what triggers the law of attraction. So if you have a big trauma, you didn't clear it, that's a vibe. And you're going to attract more of that. One extreme example, I don't remember, it happened years ago, somebody that was in, I don't know what place, and a gunman came in and he started to kill all these people, and there was a person there and whatever, and he didn't die, obviously. And then 2 or 3 years later, it happened again in a theater. The same guy was there. Basically, the same thing happened. How can that be? How can he have such bad luck? It's not called bad luck. It's called repeating a pattern because there's something inside of him, which is a trauma having to do with gunmen coming in and killing almost everybody and him getting saved. Because a pattern includes him being saved and not killed. You look at your life and you'll see the things that repeat. Because let's say that he saw all these people being killed. Maybe somebody he was related to. I don't remember if that's the case. So, oh my God. And so he talks about it in therapy. Talking never took care of anything. It's in the other dimensions. You have to get those spirits that attach and that congestion of emotional particles, your reaction and the images. Okay. So the point of the matter is that the law of attraction of magnetic resonance is the most important. We all have too much fire. We're too frustrated. And then we entered a decade of being politically correct, where we weren't allowed to say things. We had to swallow it and say something that was the opposite of what we were feeling. So that negativity that we could have, to some extent, maybe gotten some of it out through our mouth or through writing, not allowed. So then we got filled again. And then we have all the electronics. The point, we have to reduce the fire, or we're not going to reach this that is the United States and the other dimensions. We're going to reach this, because if not, I wouldn't. Now, the future's elastic and plastic. Something god awful can happen, and this can get erased. We're not going to let that happen, because we're going to learn together how to apply these things having to do with creation. I mean, you all know that, right? Your mind creates reality. How did you create this mess? Because you didn't know. All you did was react and swallow the negative. Can't do that. That's a vibration inside your aura. That's what you attract to you. So, what time is it? 27. What I'm going to do, and we can start this right now. What I'm going to do is we're going to do the mantra. I'm wondering if we should. We're going to start with the purification mantra, which is, even though I hate and there's nothing I can do, I love and accept myself. Okay? Let me see if there's somebody here that I know that can do it. Let me do it myself. Give me a second. Okay, this excess fire is really bad because you know why. What's the fruit of the devil? Fire. Fire. What's the fruit of the devil? Fire. We have too much fire. So the devil is absolutely running loose. We can do this. We can do this. So here's the mantra. I want for you to determine from 1 to 10 how you feel. 10 is you feel great. 1, you want to slit your wrist, you want to die, you feel terrible. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to put up the white dress. This white dress is very significant in that if your frequency, if your aura is full of stuff that you've been carrying from childhood, or the stuff is usually the childhood stuff that really weighs us down. If you have not really done trauma release work, and going to a therapist does not release trauma, makes you feel better, you talked about it, you feel more supported, but it doesn't really release it from your energy bodies, then this dress may look like it's brown, bronze, and blue. The dress was designed, it was made white and gold. So if you do, so look at it now, figure out how you think it looks, and we're going to do 10 minutes of the even though I hate and there's nothing I can do, I love and accept myself. And then we're going to go back and you're going to check yourself from 1 to 10. I want you to take this very seriously, because there is nothing else that I know that can take down what is causal in terms of violence, in terms of change of behavior, in terms of what has completely destroyed 2 generations of our children and our grandkids. They're not the same. So we're going to go ahead and do this now. I may talk to you as you're doing it, because I will be able to see what's going on with you as a group. If you watch this video 2 hours from now, 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now, you will get the same effects. Okay? I will also go to the back of your heart center, which is where you, if you're female, it's where you hook your bra, and I will do some clearing there. But you're going to feel better, because you are going to be purifying out of your mind and mind streams hate, which is from the fire element. You cannot hate unless you have an excess fire. You cannot commit suicide unless you have excess fire. You cannot be angry, frustrated, or have insomnia unless there's too much fire. You can't be physically violent or emotionally violent unless there's too much fire. See how important it is for there not to be too much fire? Okay, so the Mantrista music video, which is my Fox sensory therapy collection, too wordy, I know, has images that put out fire, but it also has frequencies, music frequencies, and sounds and tones that put out fire. I didn't choose them. A music specialist, the composer, Mateo Guaron, chose it. I told him what I wanted, he chose it. It works. So go ahead and start, and you can put your comments on what you're feeling. You may feel something move in your body. You may feel like you release something. Like, what was that? Spirit release therapy with a mantra. What Jesus Christ would do. What exorcisms do, but they're a little bit hysterical. What I teach is not hysterical. It's simple. It's actually very graceful and very elegant. And it's so powerful, it's like, I don't really believe that. It's white magic. So go ahead and start. And I may be speaking to you as we're working, as I see things with you as a group. Okay? And how do you do? 1 second. I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. How do you do a mantra? You repeat it in your head and you expel the breath through your mouth. Okay? You do not move your mouth with the words. You'll exhaust yourself. You won't be able to do as many mantras. You want the breath. You want the stuff to stay kind of internal because you want to go deeper into your energy system. Okay, let's go. You can visualize yourself underneath this water, but what I actually want you to work on is on the United States. So visualize a map of the United States under the water, or pick up the whole United States in your arms and get under that water with it. Yeah, that works because there's a superpower that's been known in Buddhism for centuries with the shamans for centuries, which you, in the other dimensions, you can make yourself really tiny. In this case, you're not going to make yourself tiny. You're going to make the United States small enough that you can carry the United States and get under that water. Or you can grab the United States and get inside an igloo. I want you and the United States to get a healing at the same time. Keep going. I'm going to the back of your heart chakra. Okay. Now, how do you feel from 1 to 10? You'll notice my voice is softer and more feminine. I'm not as frustrated. I don't feel frustrated. You know that I spent the first 30 minutes very frustrated. Having nothing to do with you, having to do with life situation. How do you feel? 1 to 10. Did you improve? How many points did you improve? Let's say you were a 5 and you went up to a 7. That's 20% in 8 minutes. And you improved, your country, this country, also improved. I could see the effect on the land. You were at an 8 and you went to a 10, 20%. Where did you start? More variety rugs. You're at a 9. Where did you start? Cynthia, from 6 to 9. That's 30%. 8 minutes. But they didn't just clear, they feel better, but they weren't just clearing themselves, they were clearing this country. And that's the point. 2 for 1. You're doing it. It's not just you. And by the way, you're also clearing your environment when you do the mantra. They're miraculous. Mantras are, the definition of a mantra is a device that liberates the mind. The mind creates reality. It creates a bad reality because it gets all tangled up. They're called knots. In Hinduism, they're called vasanas. Literally, the strings of the mind get all tangled up. Mantras liberate the mind. They liberate those knots. Now, they use the elements. We have too much fire. So all we're doing is producing and reproducing situations that make people angry. We're just reproducing what there's too much of. We need to get this taken care of, and we can. And I have to cut this short right now because I set up a session in English right now on YouTube to continue to do that. And then we're going to do, this is the purification mantra. We're going to do the attention mantra. And hopefully there should be a lot more people. We can do this. Today is what day? 25th of March, 2025. We can do this. It doesn't take that many people. And I said yesterday, well, I guess we could pay 100 people. Yeah, we can, but we don't need to do that because you see, we're all frustrated. So we should all be doing this mantra. Anyway, what we have to do is have a focus. Now, if I were Elon Musk, I would be using this as part of stress management for the Tesla workers, especially at the dealerships, because they have to deal with all these people whose cars are getting damaged and angry people, Because if the Tesla dealerships didn't have an excess of fire element, and they do because they're in the United States, and other countries also, but we're talking about the United States, law of attraction. Somebody's angry. Everything is too hot. Look, people are too frustrated. They're too hot. They need to direct their hatred someplace. They're good. So if they put enough penalties on the people that are trashing Tesla, 20 years in jail, they'll stop trashing Tesla, but they're going to do something else. The fire element gives you vitality. That's why when the fire element the elements got unbalanced, people started to have problems sleeping. That would have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Because if you have too much vitality, you can't go to sleep. So people wake up trashed. We used to wake up and would be fresh. We're not doing that anymore. We don't have quality sleep. Plus, the fire is the food of the devil. So we don't need any more excuses, but to being that this is the only thing that could possibly make this turn around. And it's not Francis Fox turning this around. It's Francis Fox figuring stuff out because I'm working with the wisdom of the East, but making it applicable and pragmatic, which is what the reason, I guess, why I chose to be born in a military situation, because they're not interested in just spiritual. They needed stuff that worked, and this works. We will be in the video on, we will be starting the chat right now. It's already set up. Is it already set up? I believe it's already set up. And we'll do at least half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. You will feel dramatically better. Join us. Thank you for being here.